City Jazz Sessions is about great music, arts, and entertainment. We are located in St. Louis, Missouri, and available to performance art lovers worldwide. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. You can email us at cityjazzsessions@gmail.com.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Hey, Laka, and very special warm welcome to our guest, Keyon Harrold. What's up, my brother?
What's up? What's up, everybody?
Where you at right now?
I'm in New York City. New York City.
In Manhattan, Brooklyn, Bronx,
Manhattan. Lower Manhattan.
Oh, Lower Manhattan. All right. You know, I'm over here in Flatbush, man. You got to come over and get some grit.
Come on.
And Lakers, I want for co-host here. Lakers.
Yes.
Yeah.
In St. Louis.
Yes.
That's in the loop. So Keyon, man, thank you for making the time to be with us today. You got a lot going on, my brother, right now, man. And you're extremely blessed. You know, it's always good for me to see young brothers coming out with some extreme talent, hot, on fire, doing some wonderful things. So we like to talk to you about some of those things, you know, and pick your brain a little bit and see what's happening, see what's on the new horizons.
Yes, indeed.
Everything like that, you know?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I think one of the first questions I have is, you know, coming up in Ferguson and in St. Louis, who were some of your on your particular instrument, who were some of the people that you kind of were your mentors or somebody you kind of like gravitated to, or you really appreciated the things they were doing on that horn?
Coming from St. Louis, man, there's so many amazing people, man. I want to start off with a friend of mine named Marlon Bonds, who's doing amazing things all over the world as a producer. He's in LA now, but we went to McClure High School, and he would go to college, went to UMKC, then he went to Rutgers, and he went to William Patterson, and every time he went and every time he came home for holidays, he'd bring new albums, new recordings, and he would give them to me and share them with me. You know, that's my brother, him, Danny Campbell, Tony Wiggins, you know, my guys, big brothers for sure, and Russell Gunn, no question about it. And you know, obviously not on my instrument, and just, you know, just one of the people who just made St. Louis jazz possible, Willie Akins, man. Just, you know, just the epitome of greatness and humility, and who would just share his platform and teach and mentor. So Willie Akins, you know, for me, from the age of 14 until I graduated high school, and even after that, when I came back to St. Louis, took some time off from New York, the first time he was sick, he had me sub for him as he got better. But Willie Akins, you know, just the king.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, my heart goes to Willie because I grew up, you know, playing with Willie a lot. As a matter of fact, some of his time remaining, he was involved with this big band I was trying to get off the ground in St. Louis. I have some footage of us playing down at Boche. It was a spot downtown.
Mm-hmm.
I have Willie and I, you know, in his hospital. I mean, I was with him, you know, a few days before he left us.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful, wonderful human being, man. Talk about humility, you know. And when I was young, when I first got to New York, you know, I was under the wing of like Elvin Jones and Billy Higgins and Danny Richmond. All of them knew Willie Akins, you know. Mm-hmm. Elvin wanted Willie in his band, you know. It's like Willie would leave, man.
That would have made a lot of sense.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, and but he wanted Willie, and just like Joe Charles, Train wanted Joe Charles, but Joe Charles wouldn't leave.
Right. The legend Joe Charles.
Yeah, and he was one for me. Taught me how to play breakneck, you know, and relax and breathe, you know.
Oh wow,
that's one of my early ones, you know. Mm-hmm. Now I wanted to ask you, did you ever get to hear like Ben Jones or David Hines or any of them cats?
You know what? David Hines had passed away by the time I started like trying to learn.
Okay.
Trying to play. When I was younger, I remember people telling me that I should take lessons from David Hines.
Yeah.
But after that, he had transitioned.
Yeah, man. Wonderful people, man, from where we come from, man. Wonderful people. I have some things I could probably share with you. I know we did Julius Hemphill Big Band record had David Hines on it.
Wow.
A lot of other great St. Louis people on it. But Laka, didn't you have some questions you wanted to?
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to get into, so you're you're in with Jazz St. Louis. You have a new role with them. Kind of tell us about that and what you are going to do in that role. What is your vision for that?
Yes, indeed. First of all, that vision as artistic advisor at Jazz St. Louis will be one that'll be evolving. But for the most part, I'll be, bringing in some amazing people and doing some different kind of concerts with, really fusing different disciplines, and bringing in some people who you wouldn't consider associated with the tradition of jazz, but to create another audience, to create a younger audience, not even necessarily a younger audience, just one that's more diverse and give people another opportunity to engage with Jazz St. Louis. So I'm super excited about that. The first iteration of that will be the first week of December.
Okay.
December 1st to the 5th, and I'll be doing special shows every night to introduce what I plan to do over the next 3 years as artistic advisor in St. Louis. And again, it'll be me curating just cool vibey type things. Yeah.
Congratulations, my brother, because it's definitely due for a change with that, for sure.
Thank you so much.
I'm in the proper space to do it.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah.
So are you going to be bringing Maxwell, Rihanna with you, or any other people you've been playing with?
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to bring whoever want to come home with me. It's gonna be like a homecoming, and I plan on it being that kind of scenario. Just people coming home to really celebrate the lineage of St. Louis and bringing newness to St. Louis that people wouldn't necessarily know, and bringing in different artists that people are not necessarily hip to, that are connected to the series that normally happens at Jazz St. Louis. I'm gonna bring in some other people who are really, really killing it that people might not even know about. So
right. Well, we're really excited to see what you do. I saw a video recently. You were on like Migos, or maybe like a rap group or something, and you were in that video. I was like, that's Keyon. Like, you're with so many different artists, so I'm really excited to see what you do.
Hey, for me, the idea of music though, I love jazz, but I love music, whether it be Black music, just music. It ain't number 12 notes. The beat is the only thing that really changes these genres. And most of the time it's a marketing idea as to how you introduce and promote this music. So, I love it all, from Stevie to Jay-Z to Beyonce to the Migos. It don't even really matter to me. I love dopeness. I love people who are communicating to souls and helping people have another outlet. So it doesn't really matter to me. Jazz is just my first form of communication, and I go back to that, but I use that in everything that I work on. So it is, I'm not caught in one bag or whatever. You can take off all of the walls.
Yeah, and one thing about us being jazz musicians, we know our freedom and everything. That's our element. You know what I mean? We know how to take things, improvise, twist it, turn it upside down, do everything with it. That's where that comes from.
Absolutely.
But it does not have to be in the tradition. That's one of those things that I've been telling people for years. And hey man, we're just looking forward to everything that you're gonna be bringing forward. Maybe we can talk about that project we were supposed to bring at Dizzy's with that Gun was working on.
Yes, indeed.
Because that sounded, I was lit when he told me that.
You know what? It's gonna happen.
I was
like literally today in New York City and LA and California, the first days that everything is totally open. So I'm excited about that. I'm gonna go past and see my brother Robert Glasper tonight. Things are wide open. We're gonna go
Yeah,
hang
yeah, yeah.
out and have a good time and bring in the I don't want to say the old, but the way things should be,
Right.
tonight. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, all right. So it's funny too, because I was finding out I didn't know how small the world was, when we start talking about our brother Kelvin Bell, who also taught a lot of people, in their youth and that are doing some wonderful things, and talk about Kat for one of them.
Yeah.
Lakeisha Benjamin, all these young folks that came through, and
Up in Harlem,
he's a fellow St. Louis. Yeah.
Listen,
yeah, man. Yeah.
Amazing. And Kelvin is connected to my cousin Quincy Troop. So that's another thing in the art world. So
yeah. Did you ever hear that record that I produced with Quincy? And we had a trio, me, Kelvin, and Quincy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Never heard it.
I will send it to you. It's killer. Yeah, man. We did a.
For those who don't know, Quincy Troop wrote with Miles Davis on his autobiography.
Yeah. He also wrote the screenplay to Pursuit of Happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he did Michael Jackson. He was a part of Michael Jackson's autobiography too. And Quincy's been out there doing wonderful things. I brought them to Penn State. It's been about 15 years ago when I was teaching out there. We did concerts at Penn State. I had Quincy I did a hip hop music and culture course during that time.
Wow. And
he was a guest for a week, and we had a wonderful concerts, and then we recorded while we were out there.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And so about Margaret's the project, Gloucester Project in Mississippi.
Gloucester Project, absolutely.
Yeah, man. Now this is for those who guys don't know. Margaret and Quincy Choke, they have a Gloucester Project. Kelvin Bell is part of it. He's one of the musical directors. Every summer, they're in Mississippi, dealing with the youth and telling them about the music and educating them on our Black history, which is something that also my wife and I do here in Brooklyn with our nonprofit, World Rhythm Academy, which I'm also trying to get set up in St. Louis, now that I got my mom back and my kids are growing up, man. And I got a great grandson in Lou I just met.
Wow.
He turned 2 in August. So I'm trying to get back there, as often as possible. So, but these are the things, I'm hoping to connect with you two with, because I also understand, how important it is to make that, to bridge that gap of the disconnect in the youth in our community, especially with the music and the arts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For me right now, I'm getting ready to launch, my nonprofit as well. It's called Music Against Bias. And it's about that, the whole narrative of children, starting with children, really, because they are our garden, and whatever is in that garden, whatever is planted in that garden, you want to nourish it. And whenever it's a weed growing up, you have the ability when it's early to deal with those weeds. Mm-hmm. So
right.
From the concept of racism, from the concept of just any kind of social justice kind of thing, anything that has to do with what's going on in community and how we communicate with each other. So Music Against Bias will be launched very, very soon.
Yeah.
Now, will you be doing that work in St. Louis or New York?
Absolutely. In New York and St. Louis, all over the world, because it's something that needs to happen, especially when you talk about culturally, unfortunately, Black people are looked at, our kids are looked at from the age of about 9 and 10 as adults. So we need to get rid of that stigma and start teaching little white kids, little Asian kids, on how to look differently at us, and vice versa. Things that we don't know, little idiosyncrasies that we all are taught over time, how to get rid of that stuff, how to get rid of this hate and this bias, like right off tops. So that's what we're working on, and we're using music as the basis, as the platform because we can all get with the beat.
Yeah. You and I really need to sit and talk, man, because that's the bottom line to what I'm doing with my nonprofit as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I have a question. I recently saw your fitness initiatives.
Oh my God.
On Facebook and Instagram, and I'm a dietitian and personal trainer by trade. And I just feel like, when people use their platform for good and to inspire, it is so beneficial. So I love that you are sharing that. And because that could inspire, other people to say, you know what, okay, let me try. I need to get back into the gym too. So kind of tell us a little bit about that.
Hey.
What led you to saying like, okay, now I want to do something right now?
I mean, at this point, we're at a point where we're trying to look at COVID as post-COVID. A lot of times it was tough to get into the gym. It was tough to get outside. It was tough to do anything really. And me, I gained a whole bunch of weight and I hate it. But, there's no time like now. Life is short, health is wealth. So, and that being said, we lost a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. And health is one of the biggest reasons why, the COVID affected, people in such a adverse way. So now I'm like, listen, things are open, gyms are open, it's okay to go outside. It's okay to really get back on that course. And, personally, I want to be here for a long time, and I want to be able to spread the message of love and hope and give music to the masses as long as I possibly can. So, health is the first iteration. That's the thing. If you don't got health, I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how many gigs you do. I don't care how much influence you have. If you're not here to give it, then what's the point? So that's the reason why I'm like, listen, it's, a trip of 1,000 miles starts with, one step, and I'm gonna start now and keep it going. I've done this before, so I know what it's like. I mean, at one point in my life, twice in my life, I've lost 50 pounds. I've done it. So I know that it's possible, but at the same time, I don't want to keep doing that, but I just want to start and try to, be consistent at something.
Right.
And I know that, I have a lot of people looking at me, thousands and thousands of people who just need a little bit of motivation. And the greatest thing you can give somebody is inspiration. So any little bit that I can do as an artist, as a person of influence, I will do that with no problem.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, thank you. Keep doing it. Keep doing it.
A prime example to one of our losses with COVID in terms of not having his health in order was one of the reasons why, we were like close friends from the age of like 18 and 19, but when he got COVID, he wasn't able to combat it because he was unhealthy. I'm talking about Wallace Roney, another trumpet giant. Yeah, but it's very important. It's very important. We have to maintain our health and our physicality, and especially playing music too, because it's demanding. And the things we do when we start traveling, you're saying things are opening up. A lot of people think that it's easy for us getting on planes and playing every day and taking 2 and 3, 4 flights a day and doing 2 and 3, 4 concerts and no sleep. It's not, so you gotta keep up, man. You gotta keep your health up, and it's very important. That's some of the things that we deal with the youth as well, starting at a young age. When we were in the Gloucester Project, my wife and I did a thing with the youth, telling them how to, because it's a huge portion of obesity. And we were like, look, you guys have an opportunity to grow your own food and eat junk food in moderation. So we created a nice little hip song talking about eating in moderation. But it caught on to them, you know what I mean? And that's the things that we try to instill.
Got you.
Yeah. So, and speaking of youth, I know you, there's been some things that you guys had to deal with in terms of your son. If you want to just talk a little minute about that. I know it's, you've talked a lot about it, but, just for a lot of people that are here that may not know, just give us an update of what's happened, something like that.
For sure. And again, that's one of the things as a person of color, as a person of influence, I don't really take it for granted at all what my platform is. So, in December, the day after Christmas, my son and I were in New York City, and we wanted to just get something to eat downstairs at a hotel that we were staying at. I was working on this campaign for this Japanese clothing company called Sakai. I was doing the music, and I was starring in the advertisement as well. And we were just chilling, hanging out. And we come downstairs and a lady from nowhere, accuses my son of stealing her iPhone, which is ridiculous. Obviously my son showed her his iPhone, and I told her, you know what, this is not yours. And in the context of it all, the manager at the hotel and her basically, accosted my son, made him feel like he was absolutely nothing. I've been raising my son for his entire life to know that he can do whatever it is in life that he puts his heart to. Whatever he's passionate about, he has the ability and the means to achieve that, to achieve his happiness in whatever way. But these two people in particular were not about that life, in lack of a better term. And we were simply trying to get away and just walk away. And we were attacked by this lady for whatever reason. And, it blew up, it went viral. And, that it's coined the Soho Karen incident in New York City. But it comes down to this, as Black people, as people of color, unfortunately, we have to prove why we exist. We have to prove why we're here. We have to give an excuse as to why we are able to be in certain spaces. And that's just ridiculous. No matter how hard you work, no matter how world traveled you are, no matter how much accomplishment you have, you still, to certain people, you're just another Black person. Right. And that's in this scenario is where that went wrong, because she tried the wrong person, the wrong people, the wrong father. Typically when an incident happens with Black people, whether you think about, in Ferguson, we think about Mike Brown, when we think about Trayvon Martin, we think about right now Dante West and George Floyd and so many people. There's not anybody there to advocate. I was fortunate, and I thank God that I was able to advocate for my son and be there, because most of the time the father, for some reason, just can't be there. Yeah. And the idea of being wrongfully accused is just such a violent act on humanity. We've seen Emmett Till happen. We've seen so many other people go to jail for life. I'm working on a project now with a young lady who went to jail from the age of like 15 for 21 years for a murder she did not commit. Right. And this happens so often that people just feel emboldened and entitled to just blame you for whatever and then get away with it and not even have to deal with what they've done to somebody's life, what they've done to somebody's infrastructure, their family. So that needs to change. So that's the reason why we've been speaking out and we've been pushing, for justice on the highest possible level. And it's a process. But I believe that we will get full justice in this process for my son, and and set a precedent for how people should be treated and how people should not be treated. Yeah.
But first and foremost, man, the blessing is that you were there with him, because we know how completely it could have flipped.
If I wasn't there with him in the elevator, what would have happened if I would have walked in and seen people on my son? It would have been a different thing. I was able to hold my composure to a certain level because I was there with him to control the narrative. But if I would have seen somebody on my son, the instincts come in. Who knows what would have happened if there was a cop at the door? Who knows what would have happened? Because who do they believe? That's the question that I've had to ask over and over again. And that's the thing that me and my son talk about a lot, is, why me? Why don't you believe me? You know what I'm saying? And we have those kind of, that issue, unfortunately, for people of color. Why don't you just believe me? Why don't you just trust my words?
Right. The thing is, too, that's been the narrative forever. And we all have gone through it, and he's going to go through it again. But the blessing is that, you guys were there this time. He saw how you handle it. He learned, and he knows the truth. So, that's one of the things too, again, going back to the projects you have, the projects I have, is so important. We got to teach these things. We got to teach the truth about our history, because it's never been taught in any school, you know what I mean? So it's very important. We got to do it too. That brings me to ask you the question, you know, and I know you're doing it, but it'd be good for people to hear from your words too. Because for me, every time I perform, I feel an obligation that I have to educate something about our history. I also have to educate and talk about the things, the social issues that we're dealing with, you know, environmental justice and all of those things. So just, you know, I know you do it because I've seen you, but, you know, just tell our audience out here now, you know, how you feel in and how that narrative is part of who you are.
And Keyon, is that the incident with your son, is that why you developed your nonprofit, or that was already in the works?
You know what? I had aspirations to do a nonprofit, but when it happened to my son, the focus went directly to the idea of kids and how kids can grow up. Racism is a grown-up problem. It's not with kids. You know, the idea of, you know, different beliefs that we have, we learn over time. If we can start with the kids and teach them the right things and give them the right, you know, tools to grow on and get rid of the misconceptions in life early, we'll have a beautiful world at some point. You know, I truly believe that. And I think as adults, you know, you get taught certain things and you start to believe certain things that are just warped. And, you know, and you start to treat other kids in a certain way. You start to treat other people in a certain way that it's just not, I don't know, it's just not right, unfortunately. And injustice occurs. You know, the situation with my son happened. Then I seen in Buffalo, New York, I seen this little girl who was about 9 years old. There was like 4 cops. They maced her, you know, pepper sprayed her in the back of a car. And they had her, a 9-year-old girl who was simply screaming out for her father. You know, they treated her as an adult. Like, I mean, she's 9. You know, then I seen another incident, you know, in Florida where a little girl was just slammed face first to the ground at her high school. It's like, how can you, as a child, as a Black child, go through life and know that no matter what your age is, you can be treated like the dirt on the ground, you know? So I want to take some time and just educate people, you know, and it starts with educating all kind of people, not just Black people, white people. I was talking to a friend of mine in New Hampshire, who wanted to work with me. He does like my graphics and stuff like that. And obviously where they are is all white people, you know? So if you can imagine when they turn 16 and 17 and they decide to go to NYU and they decide to go to St. Louis University and they decide to go other places that are more diverse, what are the things that they're taking with them? What are their biases that they're taking with them? What is the beautiful things that they're taking with them? So, but all that stuff starts very, very young. And we want to start to educate people at a young age, about the things that are true, about the things that are happening with people and the things that are false, you know, and have people ask the question, what is it about me that you don't understand? You know?
Right. Well, I know we want to be respectful of your time. So I'm just going to ask one last question. So you have so many accomplishments, played with so many big stars and done so many things on your own. I just saw you were on Stephen Colbert last night, right? That night before. But out of all of those accomplishments, what do you feel like has led to really your success? Like, what do you think separates you from other people who are coming up around the same time doing similar things?
That's a really good question. What separates me? I'm passionate about it. If I was never paid to do music, if I was never paid to play the trumpet or compose, or inspire, I would do it anyway. It's passionate. Like, you know, money is just an attribute and to everything else that I'm pushing for. But I do it because I love it. Every day I wake up and I'm trying to create something. I'm inspired. You know, so if I can continually be inspired, I can continually give, and that cycle can continue to happen. That's what I believe.
Yeah, and I'm sure that comes out when you play and that type of energy. people pick up on that.
Yes, indeed. It's a gift, and that's what I'm saying. I don't really take it for granted.
Yeah.
Every time I get into another scenario, whether that's working with John Batiste on the Colbert Show, or I'm doing something with this dance company. I wrote the music for Dorrance Dance. We're presenting this work next week at Jacob's Pillow collaboration, a tap dance collaboration that I've done. And it's just like each scenario is special, is different, is new.
Right.
It's an opportunity to touch somebody else who had no idea that this music existed. You know what I'm saying? You can really get to people and give people another way of thinking. What else can you do to somebody but inspire them? If you can inspire somebody, you can have them. You can hold them. You can grow their faith. But if there's so many other things that stop that. But I feel like inspiration might be the kryptonite to racism. So I'll continue to walk in that.
Yeah, man, absolutely. We want to thank you for your time. Hopefully we can have you back, and next time we can throw some snippets of some music and some new projects too. Yes, because I'm sure our audience want to hear that, and have you kind of talk about it and how those creative processes and juices were flowing for certain pieces and things like that. But I really appreciate you taking this time to be with us. And yeah, man, just thank you. We got to get together and hang when you up here.
Let's do it.
New York, so we'll talk about that privately.
Okay.
And get together. And Laka, you got any last questions or anything?
Just Keyon, where should people go to? Your website to find you? Instagram, Facebook? What do you want? How do you want them to contact you, follow your work?
Yes, indeed. You can follow me. I'm really active on Instagram, Keyon Harrold, KEYON HARROLD. That's all my socials: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Pretty much that's it, at Keyon Harrold. I'm easy to find. You can pretty much find what I'm doing on my website, KeyonHarrold.com. New music is coming very, very soon. My last record, The Musician, has been out for a few years. It's still a great thing to listen to. But there's new music coming, lots of collaborations coming very, very soon. So look out for that. And I'll be in St. Louis a lot more often. So I look forward to seeing so many people and building and looking for the next generation of greatness in St. Louis. So that's also a part of this artistic advisor position.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you.
My brother. Thank you, man. Be blessed and stay safe out there.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll be linking up real soon.
Such a pleasure. Thank you, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lakers. Such a pleasure to talk to you both.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, St. Louis. I know y'all ate it up. We'll be seeing you soon. Oh, and hold on. I can't. Oh, yeah. I'll be there. I'm going to be home on July 22nd, 23rd at BB. So make sure y'all come out. Everybody out there in St. Louis, listen. I tried to get Keyon, but he was too busy to be with me that day. But we're going to make it work.
Matter of fact, that's the last place I saw you, Lake, I believe.
Yes, it absolutely was. I think I got your CD that night or that day.
I appreciate that. Yeah. But anyway, peace and love. Thank you all for having me. And
thank you, brother.
To speaking and seeing y'all in the flesh soon.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Peace and love.